Hi, this is a quick slideshow I've put together on a piece of work I completed recently, restoring an old Acorn A3010 back to life. This was for somebody who lived locally. Isn't a device I actually owned myself, but I volunteered my service for a bit of nostalgia and also a bit of experience. I have fixed other Acorn machines before, but never the A3010. So once you brought it around for me to repair, the first thing I had to do, obviously after unpacking it, was put it next to some of its relatives. So I felt at home. It knew this was an Acorn-friendly house. First inspection, you obviously see it didn't look too bad a condition. Fairly clean and tidy. All the buttons there, everything. So didn't look like it was going to be too big a job. So before bringing it around, they had told me that they'd turned it on a few times and got something on the screen, but obviously it wasn't working properly. So I was fairly confident that me turning it on wasn't going to result in a puff of smoke. So hooked up to one of my monitors, booted it up, and lo and behold, yes, it was booting straight to supervisor mode, which is a strong indicator that it could be something to do with the battery. I had a quick play around, and the keyboard and everything else seemed to be working fine. As you can see, I could look at the configuration, no problems. And it did just seem to be an issue with it booting into supervisor mode. So the next obvious course of action was to dive straight in. So I did open up and remove the keyboard out of the way and have a look at the motherboard. So in general, the whole of the insides and the motherboard looks fairly clean and tidy. Obviously gave it a little bit of a brush around and a bit of a clean, but all in all, I couldn't see any damage anywhere else except for the usual culprit. And here we find the culprit itself. So all in all, is not too bad actually. You can see some green around the edge of the battery. It's not leaked onto the motherboard, although I'll still clean that anyway. But this is the usual culprit. So what I did here was I removed the battery and cleaned the whole motherboard with some alkaline and some alcohol afterwards, and set about replacing it. So you can see here what I actually replaced the battery with is a AAA rechargeable battery and a battery holder, which is held down with some little double-sided pads, and extended the battery over to the left-hand side, ensuring the battery was fully charged before I used it. The reason the battery was extended all the way over to the left-hand side was because you can see here, once you put the floppy drive back in place, you can still actually gain access to the battery. And as you can see with the keyboard and everything back in place, you can still gain access to the battery. So all's left to do now is turn it back on and fingers crossed. And yay, success! We can see the operating system starting to boot up. And then we can see it fully loaded and we can see exactly what version of the operating system we have installed. Have a quick play to make sure that all the apps are working. It's also testing the mouse. Look at the specification of the machine we're playing with. And then also have a play with the one disc, the one game that came with it, which booted up fine. And as you can see, the game played fine, so I actually got to play with the game for a little while before I had to unfortunately return it back to its owner. Box it all back up and send it back onto its owner. But hooray, we have another Acorn A3010 live in the world.